Yo, so for those of you who didn't see the first video, I beat Genichiro without the use of my vision, so if you see it, please could you describe it to me in Braille or something? Thanks. Here though is as promised every single recorded death I have against him, which I think is something like 83, and then I'll show you where I beat him again on my 86th, not including the first attempt, which was recorded separately from all the rest. I figured though that watching 83 deaths in a row would get pretty boring after a while, so I wanted to add a little more to it than that. I timed how long each death took, as well as each death blow I got on Geni, and recorded them for the video because I figured that information would be interesting to see.
God damn it, lock on.
And you may be tempted to ask, but Grev, if you beat him on your 86th attempt, why do you not have 85 deaths? It's because I'm an idiot and forgot to hit record, so whoops. Also, I'm pretty sure like the day after I first reached Genichiro, I started doing some practice against him, but all of the attempts that I have recorded are after about another month or so. So that's like 2 to 3 hours worth of practice between my first and second attempts. Partly because none of it was done blindfolded, just with my eyes closed so that I could peek if I needed to, and partly because the idea didn't occur to me until a later stage. Fairly sure the first 2 hours of which was just me figuring out how the hell I could even fight the guy to begin with, because at first, not gonna lie, it felt nearly impossible. At least as a baby Sekiro with next to no gear, because in this run I only have the advantages I've been able to gather up until this stage with a blindfold on. I wanted to test to see whether you could theoretically reach this far or further in a full playthrough completely blindfolded. So if you're wondering why I'm lasting more than like 2 minutes against him on my quote-unquote second attempt, it's because all of the initial strategy groundwork had already been done off camera by that point, so sorry if you wanted to see it. But that's what voiceovers are for, right? There will be points where I'll pause so you can focus on what's going on in the video, but otherwise, let's get on to explaining why Genichiro can suck a fart out of my bum. I had to do a bit of practice fighting him as a player with minimal visual impairment just to refamiliarise myself with his attack patterns first. And then from there I would close my eyes a few attack strings at a time just to get used to using my ears exclusively to know what he's up to. It's confusing at first.
Fucking hell. Am I stuck in a corner or some shit?
But honestly, it amazes me just how quickly the brain adapts to reading what's going on with only half the usual information.
Fuck.
It doesn't feel as stinted as you'd think.
So how to get away from him? Oh, I'm in a fucking corner again, aren't I?
This led to me discovering that facing him aggressively like a player usually would seemed nearly impossible, as he has about one of 8 or so different things he can do in response to an aggressive playstyle, and some of these follow-ups either had late, delayed, or sometimes even no sound cues whatsoever. Some of them are fine, but in order to remain aggressive, I'd have to account for all of them at once, as well as not get overwhelmed myself. I did later learn how to do this exact thing, but that was after several hours of practice. Each attack feels sort of like its own miniature puzzle, with only about 1 to 2 seconds that you can spend at a go trying to decipher each of them.
Oh, I'm in a fucking corner. God damn it.
Before you then have to worry about the next one he's hitting you with. Some of these were easy, some of them not so much. Because of this nature, I actually recorded a small video for myself after this 2 or 3 hours of visually aided practice in order to quickly explain the strategies I'd come up with so far to my future self, so I could reasonably go away from it for a while and come back and still be able to remember where I was at. I started this whole run late last year and wasn't especially busy at the time, and with lockdown and stuff I've had even more time to practice, but I was also looking for a new job with that time too, and around March I managed to find one in a care home, which is great and I'm loving it, but unfortunately this means I don't have nearly as much free time for dumb weird shit like playing ninja rhythm games blindfolded.
Okay, that was probably my best first phase yet.
As much fun as it is.
Fuck.
I started my job shortly after beating the Flaming Bull, I think, and this job's working full time, so this whole beating Genichiro Blindfolded thing was kind of put on hiatus for a bit because I also wanted to just have a bit of fun with my free time now and again.
Fucking hell, bro.
Because doing a run like this is honestly quite stressful at times, and it usually takes several hours of consistent practice to make any progress.
Fuck yeah, come on.
I reached all the way up to Geni on his own with just my typical days off, but I think
Oh, holy shit.
it was maybe a few weeks to a month between my first recorded attempt and my second because of this. But at the beginning of August, I had booked off some holiday time for about 10 days, 5 of which I was busy with plans, but with the other 5, I had sort of made it my mission to beat this guy before going back to work.
Bad start.
So the whole ordeal ended up as its own real life sort of time trial thing. And I really wanted to get Genichiro under my belt within that limited window. So when I achieved it with only a day or so to go, I was pretty chuffed with myself, as you can probably tell from the video. I think on that day I'd spent around 4 hours straight fighting him. I just wanted to share that because that all really added to the weight of the achievement for me.
Fuck. I need to remember the sweep. Holy shit though. Man, that was fucking good. Oh.
As I was saying though, I first started off trying to fight Genichiro normally, which isn't the cheese strat, and if you use that, you're either a speedrunner or just a bit of a dick. Fighting him this way rather than cheesing, I would have to try and gauge what it was he was doing all of the time. Whether he jumped back, tried to pull his bow, leapt in the air, or just opted to do nothing at all. Sometimes he'd choose to do nothing, and it would honestly be worse, because then I'm with zero information whatsoever, and I've got to decide whether I'm holding my guard or whether I want to risk trying to hit him to stop his posture from recovering. But doing that, I always run the risk of being caught by an attack he's already started that I haven't heard yet.
That was fucking flawless, man.
This was something I learned to gauge better naturally over time, and I don't quite know how best to explain it. What I can explain, however, are sound cues. All of his attacks have or are supposed to eventually have a sound cue that are deliberately placed so that the player can react to it.
I can't believe this.
But sometimes I think the game would just bug out and not play one of them. My best guess as to why is that there's a maximum number of sound effects that can be played at any one given time or something, and when it hits that limit it just doesn't play whatever comes next.
Certainly not one.
Normally a player wouldn't notice, but when the specific sound cues are all you're paying attention to,
The fuck was that?
you can really tell there's a difference when a leaping attack that normally starts with a long grunt seems to just appear out of nowhere. However, it could just be a problem with my game or something, who knows. This was just an issue I encountered.
Oh yeah, man, I feel like I'm getting the hang of this.
It choosing not to play that sound cue caused issues for me in this fight for a while though, most especially since that attack gains an additional follow-up attack option with each phase you reach.
Fuck.
On top of this, there is only a window of about 0.4 seconds to decide how to react to it. So going back to that idea I talked about earlier, 0.4 seconds to work on deciphering the best possible solution to the problem this attack presents is the main reason why this leaping attack was one of the biggest issues I struggled with during this fight. Because after that reaction window, my brain's busy thinking on making sure I time my attack opening so that I can get a charged hit in. Because if I cue the attack too early, Sekiro just does nothing, and if I cue the attack too late, then Genichiro can just deflect it.
Fucking lock on, piece of shit.
And if I react poorly, which you see in the actual attempt I beat him, I've got to focus on trying not to fucking die immediately afterwards. So I kind of just massively messed up there, because by that point I'd already worked out that attack. I just lost my nerve there and jumped the gun on reacting to it. I've had this question asked a few times now, asking how do I tell the difference between the perilous stab and the sweep, because the perilous sound cue is exactly the same for both. And this was the key to beating the second phase for me. Whilst in the middle of the fight, the perilous sound is very helpful
Oh, fucking hell, man.
when you can actually see him,
This guy's such an asshole. Second time reaching him at this stage.
but it takes a huge chunk of your attention away from the more subtle sound cues when fighting him blindfolded.
What?
After I figured out to listen past it, there is a distinctly different noise that accompanies each
You
attack.
gotta be shitting me. That's fucking awful. God damn it, man. What the hell? How does that even happen?
The sweep is, interestingly, no useful sound effect at all, but rather it's an absence of sound that's what's helpful, and has a much longer dodge window. You may have seen people like Happy Hob in hitless challenge runs use the safest possible option, which is actually choosing to dash first no matter what and then jump right after. Provided you deflect his leaping attack, the window is large enough for both.
stuck in a fucking corner for the whole fight.
But this is where the occasional lack of sound cues associated with his leaping attack caused me issues. Sometimes I couldn't hear the leaping attack, so I couldn't react to it well enough to guarantee a deflect every time. As a result, if you only block it, you get staggered for a moment longer, which means there's no longer enough time to perform both dodge options one after the other. So it basically came down to a roll of the dice as to whether or not the game chose to play all the accompanying sound cues for his leap attack, and chances are really not a comfortable strategy in a fight this long. So after realising that wouldn't work for me, I then learned to listen past the perilous sound, and thanks to the sweeps longer dodge window, that helped a lot, because all I had to do was wait to try and figure out which one it was. In doing so, I realised that although the thrust window was much shorter, it was accompanied by a pretty distinct sting sound effect, and that discovery helped me immensely with improving my consistency for reaching the third phase.
Fuck, that's what it was. God damn it.
On to another one of the biggest difficulties with this fight, the posture. When I first started fighting him and thought it impossible to remain aggressive, it was because of the unpredictable nature of his follow-up attacks. I tried out another strategy, which was after every attack, make some distance and try to bait him into using one of his still many but more limited in number engaging attacks.
That's so hard. So I don't perfectly parry that one attack, then if he's doing the sweep, I'm fucked.
All of which were easily reactionable and easy to tell the difference between. The problem here was twofold, however. I tried this strategy for an hour or so and discovered, obviously, that the fight would be much longer if I didn't keep on the pressure, which made losses more stressful and time consuming. But I also discovered that due to the constant movement and the limited area, I could quite often end up just running into a wall or into a corner. If it was a high wall, the camera often gets trapped too, and that distorts the audio well enough to let me know at least that there is something that's wrong, even if it's too vague to judge accurately how best to counteract it. If it's a low wall though, I have no feedback other than the sound of the boss not getting more distant when I'm trying to, quite often desperately, make that distance, which is a very delayed cue that I'm doing something wrong during such an aggressive boss fight. I had that exact same issue with the bullfight, although there it was much more pronounced, because the strategy of cat and mouse chase was pretty much the only option available to me. Fuck the bullfight, by the way, but this proved to be even more problematic during the second phase, because by then I'd already had 2 to 3 minutes of prior movement to accidentally position myself unfavourably.
I hate these fucking corners.
So this strategy, although theoretically workable, was very frustrating and very hard to control the effectiveness of. That made me think of somehow using both strategies I'd come up with so far together to counteract the risks and limitations of each. All enemies in Sekiro have 2 damage bars after all, and the plan with the disengaged approach was to cut down the health far enough.
Fuck's sake!
All posture damage I'd deal would stick, since posture recovers far quicker when the enemy's healthy, and far slower when an enemy is weak, resulting in a slow but eventual death blow. The second approach is to attack an enemy so relentlessly that you ignore their health bar completely and just destroy their posture instead. I worked out with Geni, he takes about 4 to 5 direct hits to his health, depending on the quality of the hit, to damage his posture enough that its recovery is slowed down, and around 8 to 10 to slow it down even more. So my new strategy there was that I would try to bait him into attacking me for the first 4 or 5 hits, and if I then get more aggressive with each hit after that, I would be minimizing the amount of movement I'm doing around the arena. This approach helped me to familiarize myself with all of Genichiro's defending attacks much more, and slowly but surely I figured out how to counter all of them, which pretty much meant I could just handle the fight completely aggressive, which before I'd thought was completely impossible. But blindfolded, it's much harder to get perfect deflects, so as long as I watched my own posture and disengaged to recover every now and again, I should be fine. Oh wait, the issue of my own posture wasn't something I had very much help with. It was just something I learned to feel out after some time, and paying attention to what attack strings and how many in a row Genichiro's hit me with, as well as how well I'd countered them,
God damn it,
helped me to make an educated guess as to how much repetitive strain I was putting on Sekiro's spinal column.
Oh, fuck off.
Now we come to attack issue number 2, and the main attack that I struggled with, and that was probably responsible for the highest proportion of my deaths. And feel free to count that. I've not done it myself, but I'm willing to pin and trust blindly and without fact checking whatsoever whoever does, because I mean they're all here after all, and who lies on the internet? This was also the dumbest cause of most of my deaths, because I realised an attempt or two before my successful one that it's probably one of the easiest attacks to counter that he has. I'm going to wait for a moment whilst you try to guess which one it is. I'm sure you can figure it out. You have been shown it plenty of times already by now, after all. Any ideas? If you guessed it's his poo flinging attack, then you're wrong, and what is wrong with you yourself? That's not even the right boss. But if you guessed his grapple, then congrats, you win absolutely nothing. I am not made of money. But yeah, I never figured out on any of my many previous playthroughs that attack can be stopped just by attacking it yourself. But in my defense, I always assumed, because it was perilous, that my only options were to avoid it or die, as most other perilous attacks such as thrusts and sweeps have more posture than Havel Jesters from Dark Souls 2. But to be honest, the fight's hard enough that I doubt knowing that would have saved me a massive amount of time.
Fucking hell.
The frustration, however, has caused me so much stress that I'm sure it saved me plenty of time off the total length of my life, which I imagine will end someday by someone trying to grab me and my idiot brain reacting by dodge rolling myself against the wall until either the wall gives out or my heart does. Figuring new stuff out about a game I've already played the shit out of is part of what makes this run fun anyway. Since I only started doing this to give the game a bit more replay value for me, as I think that's something the game has sorely been lacking. Low-key hyped for the boss rush mode update though. Who else thought like me the first time they saw the boss memories that that's what they were for to begin with? It's gonna be fucking sick. The last phase though was a fucking nightmare. I nearly beat him about 2 times before I actually achieved it, but it honestly sucked to struggle against. The amount of background noise was a big part of it, but he also just gets super aggressive too, and it's hard to know when it's best to heal with all the busy ambient thunder and wind effects going on. Also, you might be wondering why the hell I do that weird shit with the camera at the start of phase 3 where I flip it like 180 degrees, and I briefly explained why in the last video, but a better explanation is that the game likes to lock on your camera for when you start phase 3, and it doesn't. I've no idea what causes it to do one or the other, but my best guess is that it's a bug, and sometimes the camera loads in before there's anything to lock onto or something. But if it did one, that wouldn't be an issue. It's the fact that it sometimes does both that makes it highly detrimental. Locking onto something that's trying to kill me so that I can face it and defend myself without needing to fuck with the camera controls is an extremely important part of what makes this run possible, as I'm sure you could guess.
2 in a row, come on. Oh, I'm still fucking shaking from the last one.
The only method I have to tell, other than just hoping it's one or the other, is to turn the camera so much that it sets the audio off center, and I hear the thunder-wielding lunatic trying to kill me in just through one ear or the other. If I still hear it in both, then great, I'm locked on. If I don't, then I need to quickly rotate the camera back as soon as I notice this, lock on, and then try to deal with the perilous thrust he always throws at you at the start of the fight. That bit sucked, but I'm really glad that it looks so downright stupid in the final attempt, because I love getting weird shit on camera and having a reason to share it. My thought strategy going into the third phase was just to try and block as much as I could, since if I provoked him into an attack string by being aggressive myself, I might just miss hearing his wind-up sound cues because of all the other noise going on, and to just wait and hope for his thunder attacks instead, which the combos for, luckily, are all pretty easy to pinpoint. The first couple times I reached him though, I didn't know this, as I had never gotten that far before and I hadn't even tried to practice him yet, so in those attempts I was properly floundering there. I'm sure somehow there's a semi-intuitive strategy to defeat him blindfolded in this phase that doesn't involve cheese, but I'm not really willing to put in the hours to find out what it is, when chancing it worked out pretty well for me, all things considered. Makes me thankful though that they gave the player such a powerful tool for posture and health damage in this third phase.
Fuck! I needed to wait.
His thunder attacks in a normal run are usually a pretty dangerous affair to try and counter, because it's easy to mistime or misjudge jumping as soon as you see the attack starting. But operating off of sound cues alone, interestingly, I found this wasn't much of an issue, since my brain wasn't being fed misinformation that my eyes would have otherwise been sending it.
Fuck's sakes! Corners, man.
Also, please don't call me out on the fact that earlier in the video I said that chance wasn't a very comforting strategy in a boss fight of this length, and then completely neglected to address the fact that I beat the third phase purely on chance. The main element of chance at play in the final phase though is just whether or not Genichiro decides he wants to throw multiple thunder attacks at me in a row, or if he just wants to slash my face up, essentially. I can't really think of much else to talk about. If you've got any specific questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me a DM or come find me at my house. I don't know. I feel like probably about a tenth of my audience at the moment knows exactly where I live, so that's a reasonable request, I suppose. But in any case, I'll thank you for watching the video, and regardless of whether you've got any specific questions or not, I do really appreciate getting comments, because that's probably one of the main things that I enjoy getting out of making videos here. I'm mostly doing it as just a hobby, but you know, inflate my ego if you like. I guess since I shouted a couple people out in the last video, I should probably do that here too. Check out Vincevept if you want to listen to some cool music. Check out Curtain Guy if you want to see another pretty cool challenge run. I hear he did one recently that involved trying to play the Cinders mod in Dark Souls 3 with a toddler in the room, which is quite a unique challenge, I think. Check out Otsava 2 if you want to see some cool challenge runs. He's a big fan of Dark Souls 2 like myself, and the challenge run he did involving no hitting the whole game and beating every boss was absolutely insane. It was such a cool journey to watch that happen. In terms of my run though, I'm thinking from here I might do the folding screen monkeys next, which is going to suck and probably not be very interesting to watch, but it will get me the Mortal Blade, which will be really helpful for whatever boss I end up fighting next. This is subject to change, however. To be honest, I'm not really looking forward to doing them myself at the moment, so yeah, I don't know what the next video will be or when, but it'll be coming, and when it does, I'm sure it will be just as underwhelming as this one was.
Fuck, I fucked that up. Ah, fuck. Oh, I heard that he was doing a lightning attack and I just fucking whiffed it. Fuck's sakes. I'm gonna restart this one already. Fuck you. Okay, yeah. Just die.
Well, what else? How much longer is the video? Oh, so I've got like another 10 minutes. Well, this is awkward. I suppose. Oh yeah, those who know where I live, please don't dox me. I really appreciate the people who've like shared the video around and things like that, because it's taken me a very long time and a lot of effort to try and achieve beating Genichiro Blindfolded. It's not something I'd recommend giving a go yourself. If you value your sanity or your free time or your enjoyment or relationships with your friends or family, food, education, other video games, general other personal interests, maybe you like music, you don't get much of a chance to listen to music whilst you're listening out for swords swinging at your chest. I don't know, there's kind of a long list of things that really fucking suck about trying to beat a really difficult boss in a really rather difficult game without the aid of half of your senses. To be honest, I don't quite know why I started doing this, and I don't quite know why I'm still recording audio for this part. I imagine most of you probably just want to watch me die. Thanks, by the way. I don't know, what else can I say? I guess let me know if you think I've done a good job of explaining what's going on. Let me know if I've done shit, or maybe not. I don't know. I exist off the validation of strangers on the internet, so it would, yeah, maybe don't do that last part. But all jokes aside now though, I really appreciate you for watching. It's been fun putting these together, and sorry for each of them taking so long. Life's been busy for me at the moment. Oh, this is a good bit. I'm gonna shut up for a minute just so that you can watch me die on my 66th attempt, where I was one hit away from beating Genichiro.
Fuck! God damn it. Dude, just fucking kill me. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
So yeah, as I was saying, more Sekiro to come, but in my own time. Plus, there's a bunch of games coming out later this year that I'm super excited for, like Ghost Runner, which, if you haven't heard of it, is a cool-ass game about cyber ninjas, and it's fun as hell. I got to play the demo a few months back, and it was pretty good. Because for like a 10-minute demo, I got about 17 hours of playtime out of it. I might make another video when that comes out too, so keep an eye out for that, because it was really fun making the last one. I'm going to stop talking for a sec so that Video Me can say something.
Fucking hell, why was it unlocked?
Hope that's point proven on the lock-on. I am nearly completely out of things to talk about. I guess here's a closing statement from one of my mates.
One day the true Greg will rise and we all shall be released.
Cheers for that, Charlie. He makes videos too, and I'll put a link for his channel in the description. But I guess for now I will leave the video to play on without any further interruptions, so you can enjoy watching me die, I think like another 15 odd times or something. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and see you on the next one.
Okay, I'm glad I revived now. Oh, you cunt, I fucking jumped. Ah, fuck you. Cunt. Oh wait. Okay, that was pretty fucking tight. Fucking hell, man. What? Oh, fuck, I didn't have a second one. God damn it. Cunts! Oh my fucking god, man. Do this. Can't. Fucking cameraman. What the fuck? Fuck. Fuck off. Fuck off. Come on, camera, don't fuck with me this time. Yes! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god, dude. Start? Where is it? Dude, holy shit, that took me so long. Oh my god, I so wanted to get this done on my week off, and I fucking managed it in the end. That was like attempt 86 or something.
You'll find a link in the description for the first video, as well as for Ghost Runner if you fancy seeing it. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day or whatever. I fucking hate outros. Bye.